Okay, you guys. Cancer. Let's take a look here. I didn't really have to sit with these cards because I think the message is pretty straightforward. So let's just dive right in and go from the beginning, and then we'll jump over here. So it's interesting where you're coming from, where you are entering into Aquarius season from. Having the sign opposite of you so heavily activated. I mean, it's intense and it doesn't happen that often. So I know that you've been just feeling a lot, but mostly I feel like you've been feeling your inner power surfacing. And even though you might not necessarily be happy about how something happened or how something went down, and even though you may be feeling sad about it, you're still willing to exhibit the courage, right? The strength, because of this look at all the swords. It's all very stoic. It's all very just cut and dry, black and white. And it might just be that, okay, you just know what you got to do, and so you start moving forward. And I don't see a desire for Cancer to look back. And that might be a tough pill for some people to swallow, is that like Cancer is not sitting there pining. They're not sitting there wallowing, because that's maybe how it used to go down, right? 5 of Swords, 5 of Cups, that might be the old pattern, the old behavior that Cancer used to do. And that's a part of them, right? The King of Coins reversed, part of Cancer that doesn't want to live on. It's the heaviness that Cancer doesn't want to carry on its shoulders anymore. And I know how hyper aware of that you are. So the real tone is moving forward without so much drudgery, but actually with a sense of lightness and with a sense of wisdom. This is my card of spiritual evolution. And as we evolve spiritually, hard things do become less hard, not because you don't feel the emotion, but because you're not so attached and so heavily identified with that emotion. Meaning you can feel the sadness or the anger or the grief or the whatever. You can still feel it at the intensity that you feel, but also not be like, well, this is who I am, and this is making me who I am, and this is my life, and all this. You're really stepping into that witness, the observer, the awareness, the one that experiences these things, which is really mature. Okay, so that's exciting. That's the good news with whatever happened with the 5 of Cups. Okay, and whatever may be kind of tempting you with the 5 of Swords. I think this King of Coins is a temptation. This person or this thing or this situation had such an important role in your destiny, had such an important role in your learning experience, and is a large part of reason of why you've come so far so quickly. The Chariot signifies that this was a really meant to be kind of thing. And if you stop externalizing the problem, right? 7 of Swords, you stop blaming someone else, you stop, I'm not saying that people aren't being jerks, or I'm not saying they're not kind of a negative influence or whatever, but if you stop pushing it out on them and start really asking yourself, well, what can I learn from this, and how can I evolve because of this, and how can I change? How can I acknowledge that on some level I've done this before, or I'm kind of like that to an extent? And once, it's just a matter of a very simple conversation that you have to have with yourself. Again, void of emotion. There's no emotion here. And it's not self-criticism, it's not self-judgment, but it's perfect Mars in the 6th house. Mars in the 6th wants to continue to perfect itself. It wants to push itself to that point of doing it right, quote unquote, whatever that really means, right? Doing it the right way. and extracting the most benefit from it. So this is a teacher. That's it. This is just a teacher. So what have you learned? The minute you can start admitting to yourself that you've actually learned something is the minute that you're like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And maybe I'm glad that I went through that, and how excellent it is that I figured it out, and that I'm actually going to become more compassionate, and I'm going to become more productive, and I'm going to become less emotional because of this, or less sensitive or whatever. Page of Wands, Knight of Cups, both of these are really optimistic energies. And I see on one hand you taking this on, of the adventure aspect of it, the learning aspect of it, but also the romantic part of what life could bring now that you've gone through it. On the completely opposite side of this, all right, King of Coins, again, is not really showing up to the plate. Page of Cups, Page of Wands, Knight of Cups. The communication from this person or the offering from this person is likely to continually fall short, which is why I kind of think the back is turned here. You are over it, tired of it, sick of it, whatever, and you're just like, all right, well, you really can just do whatever you want because you do not have an effect on me anymore. And again, how empowering that is. So let's move forward with the first card, Seven of Wands. It's the vision, right? Hold your vision. It's the vision. It's the knowing what to do, knowing what's right. It's the hard work, and it's the absolute sense of clarity. But Page of Swords brings a playfulness to it. And I think this is, Venus in the 9th house, kind of getting a little bit curious. Venus is going to be working her way into a conjunction with Neptune, which can make things, on one hand, it can make things a little confusing. But on the other hand, it can be very illuminating too, if you are open to your spiritual space, if your third eye is kind of spinning properly. You can receive a great deal of information from the world and from synchronicities and from other people, as long as you're in a state of really willing to absorb what the world has to say. You're working hard, you're doing what you know you got to do, and I think you're really proud of where you're at. And I just see an unstoppability here, so that's good. Now we make our way with the Seven of Cups. We know, 8th house activity, this is what happens. And you may have already gone through this. But also, thank goodness, right? Thank God. Thank God you just went through this. Some Cancers, and again, you could be cross-watching here. And you could be trying to figure out what the heck is going on with your Cancer. If you're dealing with a Cancer who's maybe not so open, see, the problem is, as much as I want to say all Cancers are going through this whole big thing, not all Cancers are really ready to confront that part of themselves. And so they're stuck here. And the problem is that they can't escape the knowing that this isn't doing them any favors. So they still know that they're evolving and that things are happening. They still know change is happening. And yet they're choosing to live in a state of heaviness. They're choosing to stay stuck. And in spite of the Tower still happening, because again, it's an inevitability, in spite of this happening, they're going to choose to victimize themselves rather than empower themselves. And that's really tough for people who are just get over it. Come on, let's go. Let's move forward. Let's heal, but in a healthy way. You don't have to heal by locking yourself indoors and playing the pity party. That's probably not going to really heal you anyway. It's just going to emphasize the wounding. So there are going to be people who are experiencing a very confused Cancer, and that could really affect the relationship, where maybe the Cancer is staying a little too heavy to the King of Coins. And no matter what breaks, no matter what crashes down, they just simply continue to allow the bricks to fall on top of them instead of just kind of getting out of the way and letting it happen. So people are potentially choosing to keep their eyes shut. But most of the Cancers, especially the Cancerians watching tarot and astrology and, who are interested in improving themselves and evolving, I just think there's no room for fear. There's no room for anything. See, in a way, I know this is often a card of like feeling trapped and suffocated and claustrophobic or whatever, but I kind of see it as finding liberation from the inside. That there's nothing on the outside that's really worth looking at. You don't need to grasp or grab for anything. You just simply have to stand still. This is a strong indication of the mental power at play here, because it's going to be really easy to tear off that blindfold and start blaming the tower for all your problems. But the strong Cancerians are going to keep that blindfold on and find the liberation inside of themselves, within their hearts and within their minds. And those are the people that, again, a Page of Cups, I'm seeing it strongly connected here, obviously, because it's the same card. And it's almost a lack of caring of whether or not the Page of Cups comes or not. Whether or not the Ace of Cups comes or not. I have as I was kind of had the camera turned off, I was looking at this Queen of Wands, which we'll get to in just a second, but I'll skip a little bit. It's almost as though the lack of action with the Queen of Wands, with her reversal, is because she knows that whether she tries or not, it doesn't matter. But because she's done the magic with the Magician card, she knows that it's going to happen. So the energy and the effort is done in the Magician phase, not in the Queen of Wands phase, which is like actually really going after it. I see you being in a state of receiving, which is strong Venus Neptunian energy. And even with the Judgment and the Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, it is about receiving at this time. So while you're busy doing your life, you're also very open. And with so many major arcana coming out, you're doing exactly what your path really needs. Here's the Magician as well. I forgot about that one. So we have the Death, the Hermit, big changes. Like I said, if you're dealing with a Cancer, it's going to be really hard to understand what's going on in their internal world right now. They're going to be working hard. They're going to be doing really great things. But it's important for you to understand, too, that there's a depth, like there always is with Cancer. There's never just the surface layer. There's always more below the surface. So if your Cancer is sharing its deepest, darkest secrets, you're like one of the most lucky people in the world. Oh, Cancer, I do see you not really wanting to talk a lot about this stuff with the Hermit energy. I just see you converting this kind of stormy inside. And I say stormy not in a negative way, but it's just like it's real electric charge. It's Aquarius season. It's going to be squaring Uranus as the sun moves into Aquarius. So we have this hyper electric vibe to it. And I see that thunderstorm building up in the Cancerian heart, and it manifests itself in hard work. It manifests itself in keeping busy and accomplishing things. So I just say, let it run free, because the transformation is going to happen. You don't have to do anything. It's just life is going to take you through the story. So I'm seeing really good communication actually coming out of here. If any of you have business, collaborations, contracts, projects that you're working on, I'm seeing all of that stuff coming to a really cool close, meaning there's going to be a lot of success with that stuff. And it has a lot to do with your internal state, that this death is manifesting positively, that your wisdom is manifesting positively, and money and relationships and proper people, good, high quality people are continually going to come into your sphere over the course of the next few months. That's a really, I actually like this card the most so far. Okay, so can I pick these up here? Okay, Magician. That's the openness, right? That is the energy of letting the dead weight go, opening your heart by kind of, weakening the intensity here. Now you can open your heart and still be a little bit secretive, still have that storm going on inside, still have all the thoughts and all the feelings going on. It's the openness to the universe. You don't need to be open with people per se at this time. Because again, you are being protective, because I think you're being protective of your vision. It's probably not a good time to be going out there and sharing your vision with people. Sharing your business goals, your relationship. It's just about doing it. And the Magician energy is actually very secretive. It's done through powers of meditation. It's done through intention. So as you're going about your day, if your intention is to get you one tiny step closer to the big thing, then that's all you need to know. You don't need to be going out there and blabbing and talking and bragging or whatever. So you just got to get yourself away from the things that confuse, away from the things that feel like the dead weight. This is not dead weight energy. This is going to be stuff that continues to blossom over the course of 2020 and into 2021. It's going to be the stuff that propels you or launches you into that promotion or into that marriage, and you might not see the effects immediately. This is more about the pleasure of the accomplishment right now, the pleasure of knowing that it is getting you one step closer here. Now, aside from this king here, I think there are multiple personalities coming out. I see on one hand this Knight of Swords kind of running away from this Page of Cups, which again I do feel connected to the King of Coins, which is like, okay, it's just fine. Like you're just so focused. Again, positive vibe from a card that normally I feel negative vibes from. But here I see determination and conviction. So a lot of people are going to be drawn to that energy, and I think you're going to be drawing in this King of Wands. So on one hand, the Page of Cups conversation with the Knight of Coins, with the King of Coins is likely to fall short of expectation. Fine, no problem. There are going to be people questioning things, but again, I don't see you dwelling in the questions. I don't see you dwelling in the confusion. So this person might be confused. That's fine. They can do what they want. You've got stuff to do. I see the Seven of Cups as being like it's anyone's game. Like, okay, well, this could go a myriad of directions. So it could be any option, any result could occur from this. Let's just let the cards fall where they may. Let's not put energy into it. And it's almost as though your lack of caring or your willingness to step away, your willingness to not care. Is this a game of hard to get? Maybe, yeah, for some of you, but it's not intentional. It's not the game for the sake of playing the game in order to get something. It's because you're just focused elsewhere. And it's kind of that rubber band effect where as you are pulling in very heavily toward the vision, this person gets drawn into your stormy electrical vibe. It's attractive, it's sexy, it's something that people want to be a part of. Is this person necessarily the King of Coins? It could be. I think for a lot of you, you're just attracting a lot of people, actually this death energy, this tower energy, it is very sexy. When people are going through this stuff and when they are feeling empowered and when they are feeling like life is more of a playground, like it's more fun, people want to be a part of it. They want to talk to people like that. They want to do business with people like that. So you're becoming more attractive in your own right. And you're just doing your thing. My eye just caught this strength card over here. The greatest display of courage this month or in the months to come really is in your willingness to not care, right? To not care about the result of someone else's choices. The real courage is in self-focus. It's in not caring what people think. It's in living your life for you because it is your life. And again, I see you getting bigger and your energy, your soul is just radiating. And we see that here. This is you chilling out. This is you hanging out, enjoying the process. Interesting how we have such powerful cards of change and such powerful cards of receiving. Again, the Justice card saying what's fair is fair. What gets destroyed must be rebuilt. What dies must have a rebirth. This is your rebirth in a nutshell. This is like the beginning of Aquarius season versus the end of Aquarius season. And look at how beautiful this outcome. For those of you who are wanting love, it's possible that someone really shows up for you. Again, strong fire energy. We got the King of Wands. This is often a card of Aries, but it could also be a Leo. I always see it as Capricorn, another Cancer, or Scorpio as well. Someone who is potent. All right, you could also be dealing with a Taurus or a Libra too. I actually really like a Cancer-Libra combo. I don't know why. There is just kind of a softness to both of those signs that I feel is, is nice when it actually is really working out. But Ten of Cups. The dream becomes the reality. The magician, intention, magic, energy spell becomes the reality. This is always a card of things coming back to you. I always say the Justice card is my governor of the universal laws. So when there is an intention set and when actions are taken, there are results, right? Equal and opposite reactions and all that. So when you send something out, something must come back. Because you are allowing things to die and change and you're like really embracing that storminess and you're not finding problems with it, because again, the Stoic Master coming out, you get the Ten of Cups. That's what happens. This is the result. And for those of you, again, looking for love or union or partnership, boom. I don't know if it gets more clear than that. I really don't. I think there's going to be someone that comes in that like really fulfills these strong desires that you have. There's going to be someone that comes in and surprises you and shocks you and like, wow, I didn't even know a person like you existed. So vastly different from what you're used to because you're allowing the patterns to break down. And you get to experiment now, you get to play. Because you have the openness, because you have the clarity, there are no options that are off the table. That's why the Seven of Cups is coming out so exciting for me, because it's like, well, you have a lot of things And you got to try them, and you got to play with them, and you got to see what works and what feels good and what makes you happy. And, it's an opportunity for you to truly experiment because you're becoming more whole. That's what's so wonderful about the astrological environment for everybody is we are all becoming more whole because we are starting to take more responsibility for our darkness. We're not so separate from ourselves anymore. We don't shame ourselves. We're not condemning our dark nature, our obsessive nature, our anger, whatever. We're just living in it and allowing it to be an authentic part of us. So we become more complete. And when we become more complete, we attract more complete people. So this is also a card of holding your vision. I love that these both came out with the spiritual, material prosperity. Spiritual prosperity usually precedes material prosperity, although it doesn't necessarily have to. Right? Usually the external reflects the internal, but sometimes we can, go the other way around. It depends. But I think you're going from the inside out here. And it's going to start really showing up for you this year. Maybe not in February, but it's going to really start showing up for you. See, because you've accepted this lack as a part of you as well. It's the part of you that can still survive when you don't have what you want. It's the part of you that keeps living on. You know how hard it was. You know the harsher parts of life. You've been through it. You've been through the heartbreak. You've been through the burden. You've been through the hardship. You've been through the skepticism. You've been through a lot. And those experiences are just as valid as the good ones. See, everything is evening out. Everything is reaching an equilibrium here. Absolutely everything. And so there is no condemning this state. Like there's no fear of being at a 5 of coins anymore because you know that this is just an ebb and eventually there will be a flow. Just like here, the storm will eventually give way to the sunshine, just like it always does. So I see fearlessness from Cancer that I don't think I've ever seen before. At least not in my tarot card reading. I'm not saying you haven't had bouts of it, but this is becoming a part of your MO. It's running through your veins. It's becoming a part of how you live your life now. So you're stepping into something really freaking cool, and I'm so thrilled for you. I'm thrilled for this stuff to happen. I'm thrilled for the 10 of Cups and for the Lovers and for the King of Wands. And I'm thrilled for your vision to come into your reality because, of course, you deserve it. And, of course, that's really why you're here. There's a destiny component with the Chariot card. And just as though this King of Coins reversed was a part of your destiny, so is everything else. And I see you stepping into heightened levels of faith, which is super exciting because it does make life a lot easier. All right? Beautiful, amazing, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have an excellent Aquarius season, and I will see you soon for Pisces season. Take care. Bye-bye.